In this video, I will be going over data highs and data lows. So basically what data highs and data lows are is it's just an example of a liquidity pool. So again, we know we have a lot of liquidity pools like previous day high, previous day low, equal lows, equal highs. Again, this is just another form. And one of the liquidity pools I mentioned is these abnormal wicks, right? These really big wicks. Same with this one right here. And usually these data highs or data lows will be abnormal wicks, or abnormal wicks. The best time I like to use these are mostly for 8:30 news. Um, and again, not necessarily useful for 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, you don't really get data wicks. Okay, they're not really that big. I mean, the other time I would say is maybe FOMC. FOMC, you tend to get some sort of like abnormal wick we trade back to. But for this example, I think the best examples are like NFP or CPI is where you're going to find this. And then there's like other 8:30 news like consumer sentiment. And I think there's actually 10 o'clock news actually. But there's other 8:30 news like, again, just PPI. That's another one that you can get these data lows and data highs off of. So all you're really looking for is you're looking for some wick that has to be the higher low at 8:30. So in this example, we get to a data high, data low. Okay, both these are free game. Okay, so we don't know where price is gonna go at this point. What I do is I wait for one of these to be taken out. Okay, so I wait for one of these to be taken out. I don't try to guess. Obviously right here it looks like this is gonna be taken out, but I don't try to guess. And then once one's taken out, I look for a setup the opposite way, and that's where I implement my IFEG strategy. Again, you can implement any model you want, but I think for this one, the IFEG is the best. So now that we hit these out of lows, for me to go long, I would need to see price break this fair value gap. So I need to see a close above this fair value gap, and then that would be my long. Okay, to these data highs, which would not be super good risk reward, but not bad either. So let's see if price breaks it. So price doesn't end up breaking it here, so that wouldn't be valid. So again, we know we hit that out of lows. Now all we're doing is looking for a long setup. Okay. So now we have this potential inversion. Again, this is good because it's a singular fair value gap. There's not a bunch of them. There's just one. So I know if we break this one. So now the risk to reward is actually getting much better here because this would be the risk to reward now. And again, I'm on the 1 minute chart. You can look for this on the 5 minute. It's fine, but I think again, I just prefer the 1 minute. It's up to you. So let's see if we break this. Okay, no close above. So this would not count for the one setup for life. So it's gonna take that away. Okay, if we keep playing price a little bit here. Again, I'm just looking for another bearish fair value gap. See, this one doesn't really stand out to me that much, so I probably wouldn't use this one. Let's see if I can find. Okay, like this one isn't bad because I mean this one it takes low a day as well. I mean this isn't bad. Let me check the 5 minute. So actually, so in this scenario, you could use the 1 minute if you want to be more aggressive, or you could use the 5 minute. If I remember the situation correctly, I think ES had a much cleaner setup here. So if we go to the 5 minute on ES from when this happened, and we look at the data highs and data lows, so you can see like the ES one, it was a much better risk reward. Like the close, so we got a 5 minute bearish leg up here. We had our data highs up here. Right, you can see the close right here made it for much better risk reward versus the example on NQ I just showed you guys. The close was way up here. So sometimes that's going to happen. Again, like I said, you could have gotten in the 1 minute, but this is probably, since we're so low, it's like probably it would make more sense to use the 5 minute here. But again, to me, like this is a fine setup because again, it's a singular bearish fair value gap. We know we've data highs above. The market's probably going to trade to these data highs or data lows because it's a really good liquidity pool once the first fair value gap has been inversed. And don't forget, it has to be a singular fair value gap. And in this situation, the next internal liquidity is here. Okay, and does price hit internal liquidity? Does price hit internal liquidity when we inverse? No. So that means this is a good long setup because that means even if our bias is wrong, I would still expect the market to come up here and then go down. Okay, but again, this is a one setup for life, so I'd assume the bias is probably right here. But again, it never hit internal high, so this would be good long. And again, if I go back to NQZ, and we go to the 1 minute here, don't know why it's doing that. If I go back to the 1 minute NQZ, and I go back to the setup from before. So right here again, right? If you could have taken this 1 minute entry, that would have been fine. Again, you could have taken any of these 1 minute entries. Like you could have taken this one, but that doesn't get inversed. This one would make more sense. This one would make the most sense to me because this one actually kind of stands out because it's like, okay, we got all these sellers here. We got all those algorithms selling, right? We got a fair value gap. It's very big. It's very obvious. Like if we inverse this one, that would fully clear me thinking we're going to go to these highs again. So again, these ones are fine, but sometimes these will be losses. This is probably going to be more of a win because it stands out more. Now, none of them inverse. The first one that actually does inverse is this one, so this would be the one you could use. But again, really, really good risk reward there. That's 11.82 risk reward, so very, very good, but not a trade you're going to catch every day. So again, that's my one setup for life. All we're looking for is price to create a data low and data high, and then we're looking for price to hit one of them, trade away from it, and then go back the opposite way. But we don't know it's going to go back the opposite way till we get that inversion. Okay, so we're waiting for price to go back the opposite way. As long as one of the data high or data low is taken out, that's when we look for the model the other way. So that's kind of what my one setup for life entails. Again, just hitting a data low, data high, and then getting an inverse the other way. And in this example, we don't get an inverse the other way until all the way down here at 944. So again, like I said, you can go to the 5 minute if you want to be a little safer, but again, the close is much worse on this. Okay, you can see the close is obviously way up here, but yeah, if you back test this just using data points and data highs and data lows, again, pretty good setup in my opinion. So yeah, that's my one setup for life. Okay, it's just the data high and data low setup. And you're applying inversions, and you can apply the 2022 model. I mean, you can apply whatever you want here. It's up to you. But again, I just think inversions are obviously the best here, if I had to say so myself. Again, this is kind of the 2022 model here as well. You got you got your sweep, you got your market structure shift here. Okay, we took out the high that made this low. So that would have been your market structure shift there. But again, up to you. Really good setup, and yeah, go back test this. It's really good setup.